Alright boys, what's happening? Welcome back to another episode of F1 2021, my team here on the channel. Today we have the Mexican Grand Prix at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Very nice Spanish accent from me there, reading out this track title. But yeah man, today we've got a good episode boys. If you do enjoy it, hit like on the video, subscribe if you are new. You know the vibes by now. 10 likes on this video to get another episode tomorrow. If not, it will be the day after. We start off this episode by purchasing some driver perks there with some leftover cash that we do have. We've got quite a lot of money. You see there we had about 3 million. Go ahead and invest in resource point generation and engine wear reduction in the driver perks. Very forgotten about feature. I do feel like in this career mode I certainly forgot about it until this episode right here, and we got a few upgrades as you can see. But right now we're getting straight into qualifying at the Mexican Grand Prix, and we'll give you a little track guide. I am quite good around Mexico. I do feel it is one of my stronger tracks. It's a very fun track. It's a very long straight with a combination of every type of corner that you could ever think of pretty much, which is why it's such a nice track to drive. This straight is ridiculous by the way. It's so long. You want to hook the curb for turn 1, brake at about 100 meters down to third gear for turn 1 there. You can take a lot of the curb on this little chicane type thing there up into 4th gear on the exit. Hit your DRS zone as we head down quite a little bit of a straight at braking at 100 meters right there. You see we go purple in sector 1 there, and watch out for these red curbs on the inside, on the apex of the corners. They can unsettle the car a little. Stay in 3rd gear through this whole section. Pretty much there was like 5 back-to-back corners there. We just stayed in 3rd gear, up into 6th gear now, holding in 6th, a little tap of the brakes to get rotated through there. Now through the S's, stay in 7th gear. Just try and carry as much speed as possible. We lose a lot of speed there, our line was off. Try and carry as much speed as possible through that Maggots and Beckett's type section right there, as we're going to ride the curb there and brake just as the curb starts. Down to 4th gear there, down into 2nd gear I do believe for this little hairpin left. We stay in 3rd there, get some nice traction on the exit. Round the last corner now, take the shortest run to the line. As you can see there, we hug the inside curb and cross the line, and that is 1:14.8. not the fastest lap, but you can see there we are in P4 just behind Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton there, he improves his time obviously and goes P4. Callum Aylos P13. We are in P15 after that lap. We lost a lot of time through the S's section by not being flat out through there. As you can see, Callum Aylos out qualifying us in Q1, but will he out qualify us in the next session? Let's find out as we go through now to Q2. Our first lap in Q2, down the straight again. Like I say boys, this straight is so long. If your car does not have drag reduction upgrades, you are going to get absolutely slaughtered around this straight. It also makes the setup a bit difficult as well, because you've got to balance the downforce with the drag. Of course, like you need downforce for all the corners, but you don't want too much downforce because the straight is so long. You'll just be a sitting duck on the straight if the cars behind you do have lower downforce setups. So coming through now the end of section 1 again, or sector 1 I should say, we are very fast through sector 1. It's just the rest of the lap where we lose our time really. Stay in 3rd gear for the double apex right, as you can see. Get a nice rotation there, short shifting to 4th on the exit and early on the throttle. Get some nice rotation through there. Now heading towards through the S's. Can we hit the S's a bit better? We cut the curb completely there, which is not good. As we come round, we hook the curb there boys, and we spin. We're going to spin, we're going to lose control of the car. Very good car control from me though to catch that car before it went in the wall and before it hit the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc that was just passing there, or Carlos Sainz, I'm not sure who it was. But yeah, we did spin boys, but we kept it out the wall. That's all that matters. Heading now into the final lap of qualifying 2. I do believe for us, we are in P7 currently. We probably didn't need to go again, but I just thought, you know what, we'll go again, try and set a better lap. P7 we are currently in, just behind the 2 Ferraris of Leclerc and Sainz, ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. We go purple in sector 1 yet again. Like I say, very fast through sector 1. We have a lot of speed on the straights. You know, our engine is the most powerful engine on the grid. Our drag reduction is fairly developed, so we are very fast down the home straight there, which is probably why we go purple in sector 1 all the time. Heading through the S's now, as you can see, we're up in the delta by a lot through the S's, just because we kept it flat. We're up by nearly a 10th, or on the way to being a 10th. Is braking just as the curb starts there on the left, down to 4th gear, rotated round there. Now hairpin left, or like quite a bit of a hairpin. Very difficult set of corners there. I do not know really how to get through that. It's just a lot of mechanical grip reliant as well. Bro, I'm speaking backwards today. That's 3/10 faster though, and we go 1:14.1. and we end up P6 between the two Ferraris of Leclerc and Sainz, and Carlos Sainz there gets beat by Yuki Tsunoda as well, so Sainz down to P10. Both Aston Martins crashing out there, Lance Stroll and Sebastian Vettel, Pierre Gasly also crashing out, and Callum Ilott crashing out in P16, behind the Alpine of Fernando Alonso and the Ferrari, or Alfa Romeo, sorry, of Kimi Räikkönen, who has also announced his retirement in real life. Similar to my game, Kimi Räikkönen is retiring this season in our game and in real life, so very realistic from Codemasters. They announced it on my game before he did in real life, so fair play to Codemasters for that. Anyway, Q3 boys, we're currently P10 in Q3. You can see our time in the top right is a 1:17.4. Our last time was a 1:14.1, so clearly something went horribly wrong in that lap, and we are 1/10 up through the first sector as we head towards the end of it now. Is it going to be a purple sector? Who knows? It's of course going to be a purple sector. We only do purple in sector 1 through Mexico. That's it. We take a lot of curb there, probably slows us down a little. Didn't need to take that much, or didn't need to take any at all. It slows us down a lot. We get the car rotated through there though in 4th gear, and we are down in the Delta heading towards the S section. We need a solid section through the Mexican Maggots and Beckett's is what we're going to call it. Stay in 7th, a little lift on the throttle there, but we plant it down the straight. DRS, we're up. Look how much we are up in the Delta compared to that last lap, boys. 2 seconds compared to the last lap, which was obviously a stinker. I don't even know what happened on that lap, to be fair, but it was clearly a stinker. We are nearly 3 seconds up on that lap, heading through the last corner now. Can we take the shortest run to the line and set a good time here, boys? 3.3 seconds up, and we go P5 in our lap there, 1:14.1 yet again. Same time we set in Q2. Of course, this is Q3 right now, I didn't mention, but we have time for one more lap. We're going to push yet again. We didn't really get the best entry onto the straight because we did push lap. We did a push lap just before it, but we are up in the Delta as we come through, even if it is only by 5/100ths. I need to slow down. I'm speaking so fast, I'm getting tangled on my words. I've just done it again. Anyway, boys, we are now down in the Delta, bumping the curves twice there. Shaved off a lot of time from our time on this lap, but we did go purple in sector 1. Can we have a solid sector 2? That's where we lose the most time, I feel, in this lap. It's this S's section here, so we get a bit of rotation there from the curb, nearly unsettle the car, but it just helps with rotation. We drop it to 6th there to try and keep some minimum speed up because we were going offline. So we tried to slow the car down but keep our minimum speed up, and we are 2/10 up heading towards the final sector now in this lap. We're going to go through these last 2 corners, which are very tricky. Watch out for the curbs, like I say. Final corner, heading round now towards the finish line. We are up in the Delta, 1.5 tenths it's going to be, and it is provisional pole in Mexico, boys. 1:13.97 provisional pole, but everybody else is going to cross the line in a moment. Can we keep that pole position, boys? Pole would be absolutely massive for us. And no, Carlos Sainz to set the fastest lap of the race and knocks us off pole, and Bottas goes behind Sainz and knocks us down to P3. So is it going to be P3? No, it's not, because Hamilton and Lando Norris have gone faster than us as well, and Daniel Ricciardo. So it's an absolute stinker. We went from provisional pole down to P6 in a matter of seconds. But can we keep this P6? No, we're down to P7. Verstappen crossed the line there, knocks us to P7. Lando Norris on pole position. Carlos Sainz in P2 for the race, with Valtteri Bottas, Lewis Hamilton, Daniel Ricciardo behind. Sergio Perez in P9. What a stinker from Perez that is, to be in P9 in that Red Bull car. I don't know how Sainz had that power and pace in the Ferrari. He must have got a massive toe down the home straight or something. Maybe that's where he got the time. Who knows? Let's get to the race.
Here we go then. It's time to race in Mexico City, a place which gave Honda their first ever victory back in 1965. American Richie Ginther won from 3rd on the grid. And what are the Honda-powered cars this year? Well, Red Bull have been going strong here in recent seasons, so can they keep that record going today? We're a long way above sea level here in Mexico today, which could pose some cooling issues for the cars as they make their way around this 2.6-mile lap. 17 corners with top speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and watch out for potential overtaking into turns 1 and 4. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Let's have a chat about McLaren. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position and the owner driver alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Perez, Lewis Hamilton and Ricciardo, Stroll, Raikkonen, Eilert and Max Verstappen. They've taken a grid penalty. Norris, Russell, Charles Leclerc and Gasly, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Fernando Alonso, Tsunoda, they've taken a grid penalty. Mick Schumacher and Antonio Giovinazzi, Ocon, Latifi, Mazepin and Sebastian Vettel starts from the back of the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Okay then, boys, we are starting P2.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do.
Crazy.
Don't let me down.
Crazy. I don't even know how. So many people took grid penalties. We are P2. We qualified P6, was it? And everyone else, apart from Valtteri Bottas, has took a grid penalty. So we're going to start P2 for this race, which is absolutely massive. You know, we know there's a massive chance of us getting those points that we need to try and catch up to AlphaTauri. But it is 5 red lights in Mexico, and it is lights out, and away we go. And we got a sort of flying start. Valtteri Bottas so slow off the line there. Bottas, he's been overtaken by Carlos Sainz already, as you can see. We fly past Bottas. Sainz flies past Bottas, heading down into turn 1. Sainz, don't know what he's doing over there, bro. The racing line is on the other side of the track. Sainz goes up the inside of us, but we get the racing line, of course. I don't know what Sainz was doing out there, and we are leading the Mexican Grand Prix, boys, on lap 1. I'm absolutely flying ahead of Carlos now. Such a slow start from Valtteri there. We'll get a replay of that now and just see how slow he was off the line. You'll see Sainz just behind Valtteri there, just absolutely flying off the line. I don't know what happened to Valtteri there. Proper Valtteri Bottas IRL move right there. Just an absolute loser, really. You know, the future Alfa Romeo driver, it looks like, for next season. Valtteri Bottas getting left in the dust. And look at that, Callum Eilert just behind us in P5. Boys, Callum Eilert is just ahead of Lewis Hamilton. He's just behind Lewis Hamilton now, but Callum Eilert is in P5 battling with Lewis Hamilton. Who would have thought it? Driver of the day from the last episode, and he's in P6 on lap 1. I think he started P9 on the grid, maybe. He's up into P6 off the start, so absolutely fantastic from Callum Eilert there, you know what I mean? He's fighting for his life, Drive to Survive, as they say on Netflix. It is Drive to Survive, but look at this, Valtteri Bottas, he's driving to survive as well. I mean, he's lost his seat to George Russell in real life by the looks of it, but on this game, he really wants this seat. You know how many times we've seen Bottas on the podium this year, and look at this, he's obviously overtook Sainz again, even though Sainz had such a good start. And Bottas now 4 tenths behind us, heading down this home straight. We know this Mercedes power unit is powerful. We know the Mercedes have the most developed car on the grid. We're trying to break the toe a little, but Bottas is just going to follow. And as you can see, we try and cover him off, a bit of defensive drive, and he goes around the outside of us, heading into turn 1. We go late brakes, but it just was to no prevail. Look how easy that was for Bottas. And you know, his car is so much better than us, so we're not going to stress really about that. You know, like, we're not at the stage to be winning Grand Prix unless something crazy happens at the moment. So, you know, we don't care if a Mercedes overtakes us while we're in the lead of the race. We're still in P2 though, with Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez just behind us. Max Verstappen down in P10 there. That's a bit of a stinker from Max, if you do ask me. Obviously Lance Stroll, I think he's gained a few places. Lance Stroll, I'm sure he got kicked out in Q2. So Lance Stroll, he's made up a lot of places there. Obviously all those people with the engine penalties, Lance has made up a lot of places there. But you can see now, boys, we're starting to lose the tyres a little on lap 7 here. Sector 3 there, very, very slow. I'm checking the tyre wear and the tyre temperatures just to see what was wrong there. You know, we had a lot of understeer through those last few corners. It was very poor. And now Sainz is trying to get us down this home straight. We know we're faster than the Ferrari in a straight line. We try and defend there, as you can see, but we've got no battery left to try and defend. We've used pretty much all our battery trying to defend from Carlos. Avoid a collision there. That was almost dangerous, you know. We almost lost our front wing there. The AI are just so slow coming out of corners, but you can see there a flash of a yellow flag behind us. By the looks of things, there's a massive group of cars behind us, and there's a yellow flag, so something has clearly happened there behind us. We'll see what that is in a moment. And it looks like, I think it is going to be the Aston Martin of Sebastian Vettel that does have a problem, and it is Sebastian Vettel out of the session, boys. Sebastian Vettel has had to retire Now, Vettel did start from P22 on the grid, at the very back of the grid, so this is a brand new power unit he's just put in the car, and look at that. Massive cloud of smoke out the back of the car. His power unit's failed, which is a howler, which means another penalty for Seb in the next race probably, because he will need another new power unit. But yeah, so yellow flag behind us there. Yellow flag in front of us now, by the looks of things, boys. Is this going to be Carlos Sainz with an issue? Carlos obviously overtook us. We're down to P3, boys, but there's a yellow flag in front of us. The only people in front is Valtteri Bottas, and Bottas is off the track, and it is a yellow flag. Valtteri Bottas, safety car is out. Bottas is out of the session, boys. That is absolutely massive for us. You can see his engine smoking there. Bottas, the only guy in front of us apart from Carlos Sainz, is now out of the race, which is absolutely huge. So we moved up from P3 into P2, and we do have Lewis Hamilton behind us on the safety car restart. We do one lap behind the safety car and then pit. Me and Sainz both had the same idea. Luckily takes no damage there. I don't know what Sainz was thinking. No, that was my fault. But you know, when you've got pit assist on, you can just drive full speed into the pits. I should probably turn that off, but there's no rules, so we leave pit assist on, slam into Carlos there, pause. But yeah, take no damage, very luckily. That could have been race over there. We come up behind Carlos, of course. Nobody else, by the looks of things, have pit, apart from me and Carlos. I thought a lot of other people would have pit behind the safety car. Strategic disaster, if you ask me, from every other driver there, not to pit behind the safety car, you know. We would have all came out in the same position, because if everyone would have pit, like, you know, well, you see there anyway, a few laps later, boys, the safety car's coming in. You can see it's a lot more overcast. I don't know if I showed in the video earlier. It's due to rain towards the end of this race, boys. It's meant to go sun into rain, and you can see now the clouds are coming. It's a lot more overcast. Me and Carlos have fresh softs on this safety car restart. I expected us to blitz past everyone on our fresh softs when people are rocking old hards, old mediums, old softs. But you can see now Carlos blitzed me on the restart, and so did everybody else. But we have a very slow train of cars in front of us now. I'm expecting me and Carlos here to do a bit of teamwork, slingshotting with DRS to try and get past this group of cars in front of us. Carlos Sainz, a bit of a differential pick for teammates next year. Who knows, that might be a shout, but we'll have to wait until later in the season to see if Carlos is a good fit for the team or not. And we take the inside there on Kimi Räikkönen, and it's an easy pass on Kimi there. Kimi Räikkönen, the guy who's retiring this season, like I've said, and the guy who's been in a lot of controversy this season this season on YouTube. You know, he's been just a lunatic. Every time we see Kimi Räikkönen, we're expecting him to do something crazy, bro. Like, it wouldn't surprise me, if he just jumped out the car and started running around the track for a few laps sometimes. Like, this guy's wild. But Carlos Sainz on the outside there of Callum Ilott, our teammate in front. Now, we could have dived down the inside of Ilott there, but I wasn't convinced that he would have left it to space. Like Alonso said, all of the time you have to leave it to space. But I think Ilott was going to be an absolute idiot and just kill us, so I just played it safe, and Ilott pits there, so he gets out of our way. A lot of people pit in there. Now me and Carlos back up into P1 and P2. Can we keep this up? I'm trying to close the gap to Carlos. You can see now into turn 1, the gap is 1 second, and there's contact from behind. We've spun at turn 1, and it's going to be Kimi Räikkönen in P3 behind us making contact, and again he's smashed into the side of us. We were just saying this guy is a danger to the other drivers on the grid. Watch this, boys. Watch this. What is he thinking? He brakes, and then just what is he thinking? What is he thinking there? And then this. He just drives straight into the side of us. This guy is an absolute menace to society. Like, this guy should actually have his driver's license took off him. He's a danger. He's an actual danger. Like, he has just completely spun us out for no reason. If you go back and watch his onboard again, bro, what was the guy doing? We go into the braking zone, he brakes and then comes off the brakes and just flies into us. Like, what is this guy thinking? Anyway, Kimi Räikkönen has been passed now by Charles Leclerc. Leclerc is up into P3, and Leclerc is up our arse as well, trying to overtake us there. We got defensive, and you can see a few specks of rain there dropping on the camera and dropping on the car, boys. This might be time for the rain to come. You know, lap 15 after 36. Charles Leclerc with DRS round the outside. Not mad about that, he had DRS. But look, boys, the rain is coming. Now, this is where strategy overtakes driving ability, I do think. You know, a few laps later, or 1 lap later, lap 16, we're looking there in the bottom right, we're changing our setup. We're going to increase the downforce by 1. We're going to change our tyres to intermediate, so the next time we pit, we're going to get an increase on downforce on the front wing and go to intermediate. Obviously, when it's wetter, you want more downforce, so we change our front wing to 7 downforce instead of 6 there. we showed the setup earlier in quali. I think we did anyway. I actually can't remember if we did now or not. I don't think we did actually. So if you want to see the setup, let me know in the comments. Look how fast that was, 1.9 seconds. Round of applause for the boys in the pit lane there. 1.9 seconds, world record stuff. And we put the inters on, boys. We put the inters on lap 18. I felt the softs just go away from me. I had no grip in the weather, but we are the only person on the field to have these intermediate tyres on. And you've just seen FIA Race Control. They have just disabled DRS, which is when you know it is time for wet tyres. We are the only people on these intermediates. We've been on these intermediates, I think, for 2 laps before anybody else has even considered it. And look how many people are in the pits now. We are in P15. We're going to overtake so many people in the pits who are all putting inters on. We overtake Pierre Gasly coming out of the pits there. But Charles Leclerc is 2 seconds in front of us now. I think he's just came out of the pits as well. Charles Leclerc is on those inters as well, but he's got Mick Schumacher in front of him, who is on soft tyres, and this is absolutely not conditions for softs, so we know Schumacher is going to hold up Leclerc big time, because Schumacher is going to be so slow on those soft tyres. Of course, if you are going to be on slick tyres in the wet, softs are the tyres you want to be on compared to medium or hards, but still, you can see just how slow Schumacher's going, and that's not just because he's a shit driver, it's because of the conditions as well. And we send one up the inside, a very weird corner to send one up the inside and overtake on, because you're pretty much flat out through that corner in a normal race, but we had to clear Schumacher there. And like I was just mentioning, you want to be on the softs and not the mediums while it's raining if you need to be on slicks. And we've got George Russell just in front of Charles Leclerc there. I think this is a replay of the overtake on Mick Schumacher. George Russell now in front of Charles Leclerc, like I've just mentioned. Hopefully Russell holds up Leclerc enough for us to catch up to Leclerc. Obviously there's no DRS anymore because it's been disabled because it's so wet, but hopefully Russell can hold up Leclerc enough for us to close that gap. You can see he's 2 seconds ahead, but you can see how slow George is. We're through the last few corners now, hoping to make it there before Leclerc clears him very easily on the straight, but we go a bit deep there. So hard to drive in the rain on this game. I just can't do it. I literally just can't do it, boys. I need to practice a lot more. But George Russell pits now for inters, and he holds up Leclerc enough for us to get a good jump on him as we head down the straight now. We've got a slipstream, we've got our battery fully charged near enough, or just over halfway charged, and we're going to make an easy pass down the straight here. Carlos Sainz though 8.7 seconds ahead, so if we're going to catch the race leader we need to pull out an absolutely magical performance. 8.7 seconds ahead with 16 laps left. You know, that's a very difficult task to try and catch Carlos now. It's up to 9 nearly because we had to defend from Leclerc. Speaking of defending from Leclerc, turn 1 again, heading down the straight now. Leclerc on the outside of us, Carlos Sainz 9.6 seconds ahead. We know Sainz is pretty much just going to be out of reach. We need to battle for this 2nd and 3rd place with Leclerc. We get defensive there, very good driving from the both of us to not make contact wheel to wheel through the little chicane there, and I do believe that allowed Pierre Gasly to clear Leclerc. You can see in the top left it still shows that Leclerc is in front, but we're going to see some great driving now from Pierre Gasly. We're riding on board with Gasly, as you can see, and he's going to chase down Leclerc while me and Leclerc are battling. You can see just how close he is to Leclerc, how much he's made up while we were battling there. And he gets a slipstream, comes out of the slipstream. The camera's been hit by a big drop of rain there. You can see just how wet it was. You can see the camera getting splattered by some rain there. And Pierre Gasly, just very good driving from Pierre, you know, to clear Leclerc like that. That's very good indeed. That's very appealing for when I'm looking for a teammate for next year. Pierre Gasly is definitely on my radar, one of the top targets for teammate for next year. Stay tuned in the season for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the last episode of the season, which is obviously in 3 races time. We will talk more about our teammate, and I'm going to let you guys pick our teammate for next season. I'll give you a few options in that video, and you can vote in the comments of the Abu Dhabi video, which will be out next week, sometime next week. So we are going to box this lap for fresh inters, I do believe. Pierre Gasly now trying to make a move in heading to turn 1, but our car is superior to the AlphaTauri car. Faster engine, more power in that engine, and we head into turn 1. Pierre almost cuts across us there, but no contact through turn 1. And I think the switcheroo happens from the last lap, and the last time me and Leclerc were fighting, it allowed Gasly to get past, but right there Leclerc clears Gasly, returning the favour. Now Carlos Sainz at pit. We actually stayed out for an extra lap because I wanted to cover Carlos. I didn't want to try and undercut or overcut Carlos. I just wanted to pit when Carlos pit, and as you can see, he's pit now, so we jump into the pits as well. The reason for that was I knew he was out of sight, out of mind, really. Like, we was never catching him. But yeah, I just wanted to pit at the same time as him, and because he was so far ahead, we could see when he went into the pit before we even made it there. So we go ahead and pit. Can we have another 1.9 second pit stop? It looks a bit slower than that. It's 2.2 seconds, very respectable still. Not 1.9 seconds, but 2.2 is a very nice pit stop regardless. Now let's see, where are we going to come out? Are we going to stay in P2? We can see Charles Leclerc, Pierre Gasly heading down the home straight now towards turn 1, but we have cleared them. We have 2 seconds ahead heading into turn 1 now, and now we have 7 laps left in this race, and we're currently sat in P2, 1.7 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc in P3, 2 seconds ahead of Pierre Gasly in P4, and that is all she wrote, boys. Race, fucking hell, lap 36 out of 36. Checkered flags out. Carlos Sainz winning the race there. Some contact, I think, from Charles Leclerc. He tries to send one down last minute to try and make a move on us, but it's not going to work out, boys. And we come around the last corner, and it is going to be P2 as we cross the line. It's P2. What a result that is for us, boys. P2 podium. P2, our best result ever.
Brilliant job, mate. That's a fantastic podium. Super driving, really strong pace. Very, very happy.
Esteban Ocon, driver of the day. Yeah, we got very lucky with that qualifying, P6, and then all those people in ahead of us to get grid penalties. So to start P2 and finish P2, you can't complain, As they say, if you don't get overtaken in a race, you can't lose. I don't know who said that. I've just completely made that up. But, Carlos Sainz there rocking what looks like a German helmet, but it's just a black helmet with the Spanish flag on. I was a bit confused when I saw that. I thought it was Sebastian Vettel back at Ferrari with a German helmet on. But Carlos Sainz, he is now a Grand Prix winner. Very exciting stuff for Carlos. Exciting stuff for Ferrari with Leclerc getting P3 there. And then obviously we took that P2 spot on the podium there. What a race that was. What a fun race that was, just great driving, I want to say, but it wasn't really. We just defended all race and got lucky in qualifying, but sometimes luck is what you need to do well in life, everyone needs a bit of luck. And we go ahead and finish on the podium there for the second time in the season. The first one was a bit of a fluke as well. I don't think we would have finished on the podium if we had higher difficulty, but you can see the standings now at the end of the race. Leclerc P3, Gasly P4, Fernando Alonso P5, Yuki Tsunoda P6. What a ridiculous sentence that is. Who would have thought you'd see that as a top 6? Such weird teams. You've got Lewis Hamilton down in P13 from P5, Daniel Ricciardo down in P14. Just an absolute stinker from some of these teams with the strategy. Nicholas Latifi getting a point for Williams there, up from P20 into P10. That's the first points for Williams, I think, all season, and it comes from Latifi and not from George Russell. Russell is quite stinky on this game, I can't lie, boys. I don't think he's made it out to Q3 or Q1 once in qualifying. Callum Ilott, though, this guy, man, I hate this guy. From P9 on the grid down to P19. This guy, wow, he's finished in P19. There was only 20 runners at the end of the race. This guy stinks, and if you think he's going to be here next season, you are mistaken. Let's take a look there at the driver standings. That result puts us up above Sebastian Vettel, level on points, but puts us above. I don't know why that is the case, but we're in P9 now in the driver standings, P7 in the constructor standings. 34 points away from AlphaTauri there. We have 3 races left to make up 34 points. Can we do it? Stay tuned in the series to find out. And we do go ahead and lose our rivalry there to Daniel Ricciardo, as you can see. Unrealistic anyway. I can't believe they forced Daniel Ricciardo on me. You can see there the team heading towards level 13. At level 15, I do believe we get another sponsor that we can throw on the car and get some more money from. But we advance a few days there, and we've got the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, the Brazilian Grand Prix, obviously in Brazil. Go figures. We got a few upgrades come through. DRS upgrade came through for the Brazil Grand Prix. We go ahead and pick up a durability upgrade there as well, trying to develop the car as much as we can, but also looking out for those regulations that are going to come in soon. We saw in the last episode, I do believe, there's going to be engine regulations for next season, which also trying to save our money. We need to develop our facilities to keep developing the car, but we're trying to save some money to get a good teammate for next season. Like I say, you'll find out who the teammate is at the final episode of the season. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. If you did enjoy, like, comment, share, subscribe. You know the vibes, and I will catch you next time. Take it easy.